Athlete Builder back at it. Got Chipper Anderson today with the Virginia High Performance Group. And if you listen to Sydney's show, this we can thank her for introducing us to Chipper. So Sydney, as you remember, she worked over at VHP for a little while, and Chipper is quickly advanced at arguably a young age, where he's kind of like one of the guys there now, where he has people that he's kind of in charge of. He has responsibilities, right? So, lucky to have him. Comes from a tiny town. I think there's maybe 7 or 8 people in his graduating high school class. Now, it was a little bit more, but it wasn't quite like Hoosiers, 37 boys in the whole school, but I think 50 guys in his graduating class or something like that. We got a young kid from the middle of nowhere just making his way. Uh, he'll say that some of it's luck, and he'll say a lot of it isn't. And one of the things that keeps him held together is his faith. So we're going to get into just a whole bunch of things. But first, Chipper, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
I appreciate it, Jim. And then Sydney, thank you for introducing us.
She's great. And talk about driven and focused. And there's no like hemming and hawing. There's no wondering, real, not necessarily rigid, but driven with, I want to hit these marks. I want to hit these marks all the time, right?
Yeah, it takes a special person to pursue that Olympic dream.
Yeah, yeah. So were you guys there together at VHP working at the same time?
Yes, we were.
Gotcha. I wrote down here you played a bunch of sports growing up, and chasing after wild animals in the woods might count as one. But baseball, I guess, was your first love. Your parents decided, hey man, we're gonna name him after Chipper Jones.
Yes, I mean, I guess you could say I really didn't have a choice but to play baseball
Right.
and to be an Atlanta Braves fan. And then I just grew up watching Chipper Jones as I thought it was the coolest thing that I was named after him.
Maybe, you send them a message, hey man, I'm at VHP. My parents named me after you. You want to come on out and talk to the guys at all and help us out?
It may be an N.
Maybe an in. So is that really fair, or is that hard to put on a kid? Hey man, Chipper Jones, Braves. I can tell you, my kids know and cheer for the Cleveland Browns because I'm from Cleveland, and I did them no favors by having them be fans of that team.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it does put a sort of pressure on you as a kid, and
Right.
you don't realize it until you grow up, but how much pressure was on you. But by the time I was walking, I had a bat, I had a ball, and I was pretty much groomed to play baseball, and I absolutely loved it. I
Right.
absolutely loved it until I graduated high school, and then I didn't love it anymore.
You get named Rocky from the get go. You get named Jesus right from the get go. Abraham Lincoln Anderson from the get go. My goodness, that's really putting it
Yeah,
on you, right?
that's some weight right there.
So do you even like baseball at this point?
I like it, but I don't know, it's hard. Like I gotta say, I don't watch it. I mean, I'm watching the World Series a little bit, but that's about it.
What about the Savage guy? Have you seen him? You know the story? All right, so I'm not really a ton into baseball. I like the Indians. It's bullshit. They call them the Guardians, so what the fuck ever. But hey, we're gonna call them the Indians because that's cool. And now that they're out, they got knocked out early on. I don't really pay attention as much because, like most people, once your team gets knocked out, you don't care as much. However, I see this statistic, and this guy's last name is just Savage, like Y-E Savage. And April, he's pitching single A. May, he's still there. June, he's double A. August, triple A. September, gets called up.
That's fast track right there.
Now, I'm not even close to done. So he starts his first game in September. Come around October, he pitches in the playoffs. He pitches in the ALCS, and he starts game one of the series in which the team wins.
Mm,
What?
that just doesn't happen. That's a one of one.
That's a one-on-one. So one of the things my dad would do, we'd be sitting on the couch, and we'd be watching some kind of sporting event. And it could be bowling, and somebody pulls up a 7-10 split, or someone hits a grand slam, something awesome. And he'll just turn to me and go, and here you sit, right? And I'm like 8 or I'm 12, right?
Yep.
And so I got Chipper, don't call me Jones Anderson on the show today, and this guy is one of one, goes from single A all the way to starting game one of the series. And if my dad were here, Chipper, he'd be like, Chipper didn't hear you. Like, oh my goodness, who does that? I wasn't even into baseball that much this year, and I saw that stat. I'm like, you know what? I'm turning on game one. I got to see this guy.
Mhm.
And sure enough, didn't disappoint. He held his own. I wrote down, or you wrote down that you played uh, D3 baseball through fall ball,
Yeah, so
and then
that
that
that's
that was it. So like,
so that kind of goes to the whole baseball thing. So I played pretty much year round as long as I could walk. I pretty much, especially like towards the back half of high school, American Legion ball, travel ball, and when I went to a small D3 school in Lynchburg, Virginia, I tried to walk on freshman year in the fall ball season, and it was like a job. Waking up at 5 a.m., hitting lifts. The passion was not there. The fire wasn't there. Then I'm a small town country boy, and we went to you go to university, and then all of a sudden you get invited to parties, and fell in fell down that hole. And I remember about 3 months into the school year, my advisor called me in, and my grades weren't too bad, but they were kind of right on the cusp of getting into the exercise physiology program. And she was like, you have three buckets and you have two hands. She goes, you got baseball, you have school, and you have partying. You got to drop one. So I ended up dropping baseball. Partied a little bit. I didn't party too hard. Focused on my school, and yeah, it got me into a master's program.
gotcha. We told people the same thing. If these high school kids, they'll say they want to play in college. I'm like, you could socialize, you can have great grades, or you can be, a college athlete, but you can only pick two.
Yeah, and then back then, I've always been. I mean, I'm a September baby, so I've always been the youngest one in everything.
Oh, September should have been the oldest. They should have held you. They should have held you back a little. Dang.
Yeah, yeah. So I was 17 my first month of college.
Yeah.
So I was very much so like still immature in a lot of ways, and I was pretty immature most of college.
Gotcha. Your parents should have held you, man. My goodness. It helps. Would you say you played too much baseball growing up and it kind of burned it out of you?
I would say towards the back half, yeah. I mean, growing up in a small town and a small high school, like I did play multiple sports. Played basketball is probably my second sport. I kind of like that more than baseball because I felt like there was no pressure. Like I could go out and absolutely suck, but I still had a fun time because there was no pressure. And baseball, like I just felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. Um, yeah, just kind of after senior year, it was pretty much kind of set in stone where I wasn't really doing it for me anymore. I was just doing it because I felt like I had to do it.
Physically, you versus the people you said you were walking on, other people were already set and on the team. How'd you measure up physically, whether skill wise, power, speed?
Oh, I was a little string bean, dude. I was 5'7", 5'8", 165 pounds, if that. And I would like didn't strength train at all. I just had the skill just from playing so much baseball. So I had a little pop, like I could sneak one over the fence every now and then, but compared to the guys that grew up in the high school strength and conditioning setting, like they were night and day, bigger, stronger, faster than me. And then me being 17 didn't help either.
Sure did. If you read Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, he talks about that. He's does research all these different groups. He's looking for greatness, right? And he talks about the 10,000 hours before you're an expert, roughly 10,000 hours or 10 years before you're great at something. And so he just picks a sport and he goes, all right, hockey, Canada, and which is, a religion. And like 90+% of people that went and played in college or beyond were all the fall babies that weren't held, like they were the oldest in their classes
Mhm.
as one piece because they have an extra year almost of maturity physically, mentally, right? And your brains don't fully mature until age 25. So every little bit matters, but there's that one physical component as well. So if you go in at 17, man, you're like 2 years behind. And so that's a huge piece. If you don't have the strength and condition, because you and I were just talking before we started recording about the athlete builders approach and their philosophy, and one of the pieces is the training. And if you look for a limiting factor, if you don't have it, 165, like you said, called yourself a string bean. I'm like, well, if we would have just had you lift some more and play a little less baseball, you probably wouldn't be as burned out, and you would have had a lot more physical success, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not much of a shoulda, coulda, woulda person,
For
but
sure.
yeah, like looking back in hindsight, like exactly. And then so like any young baseball athlete that I come across and have a chance to talk with, like I try to push the gym more on them rather than more baseball.
Yep. I'm screaming that from the mountaintops. Not many people listen, but I'm like, what if I just guarantee you some better results?
Yeah,
Give you your money back if you don't get better results. So if the person never lifts, right? And I have some kids, a basketball kid, he's 140, 6'1",
ooh,
can grab the rim. But I'm like, bro, you're 140. You come anywhere near me, you're gonna hit the ground and be done for the game.
yeah,
And he's
eat a
like,
pizza.
every day, every meal. So I'll have parents or coaches even, hey man, what are you doing with this kid? I said, it doesn't even matter. If he touches the barbell, he's gonna get better because he's starting at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he's like a military press at 55 pounds for 8, right?
Hmm.
Just do anything. So in that case, it doesn't really matter what the program is. Just get going, carry things, go live on a farm and start baling hay, right? Start doing farm boy crap.
Yeah, farm boy strength, it's a real thing.
It is a real thing, and I like it because, as I talk about myself, any idiot can do it. Carry things and push and drag sleds.
Hmm.
You're going to be all right. What was the welcome to college moment on the baseball team? You're like, oh shit, life's a little different here.
Dude, I would just say like the pace of everything was so much faster. And then again, like I was in a single A high school. So like our top talent is like below average in that setting for D3.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so going there, that was the big thing I was blown away with was I was like, wow, this is fast paced.
Right. What would your walkout song be though, if you got to pick?
Whew, what would my walkout song? That's a great one. I don't know. I would say trying to show off the country boy side. I would do probably Chattahoochee, Alan Jackson.
Awesome.
But I would do just the instrumental.
All right.
Yeah.
I liked Alan. My wife loves Alan, and he has his last concert coming up next May or June in Tennessee in the stadium. Tickets were 900 apiece in the nosebleed, and I'm like, can't do it, man.
I had a chance to see him in person like 5, 6 years ago.
Oh man, did you go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice,
He was in a small venue in Roanoke, Virginia.
awesome. How just give the audience some context. Height, weight.
So probably a good day 5'10", maybe 5'11",
Uh huh.
about 180 now. I'm kind of getting a little fluffier for the winter time.
Gotcha. But no stranger to the weight room any longer.
No, no, I gotta say, like when I stopped playing baseball, it kind of showed me the gym aspect of it, and I just kind of fell in love with it. Same thing, like kind of you mentioned, like the beginner gains. Like I started going to the gym, had a like loose idea of what I was doing, watching YouTube, things like that. And dude, I just fell in love with it. I have a very addictive personality, so I got very addicted to the gym.
And so, for context, are you more of a power lifter, weight lifter, CrossFitter, endurance athlete? What's your focus, and what are some just raw numbers so we have an idea?
I would say I just want to be an athlete. I don't want to put myself in a specific category. Definitely not a CrossFitter. Definitely not a power lifter. Some loose numbers. Start off with the worst lift first. The most I ever benched, and then probably currently I can bench is about 270. And then back squat. I don't really back squat anymore. I've hit 385, but doing Squattober right now with Zercher squats and hopefully get north of 350 in the elbows. And then
Okay.
this past May, I hit 500 deadlift at Summer Strong with strapless,
Pulling conventional,
pulling conventional. That's the only way to pull.
bro.
Deadlift has always been my lift. Like for some reason,
Why is that the only way to pull?
I,
It's just not cool. It's cheating the other way.
yeah, yeah, it's just not cool.
It's just not.
There's just something about bending over and just picking up some weight.
Yeah, sure is. Sure is. Um, I like both lifts. I think conventional is a lot more traditional lift. For athletes, I like sumo a lot because it helps you build things up laterally. So
Hmm.
when you push side to side, sumo's going to translate pretty well there. I like both lifts because one's going to stall out, and then the other one will help break through a plateau. And when that stalls out, the other one breaks you through that plateau. So that's pretty good.
What are your thoughts on hex bar deadlift?
I like that too. I like just about everything
Hmm.
for something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask why are we using it? It's the more advantageous position for most athletes because the bars are higher. It's more quad loaded, right? It's a little bit easier to teach. The athlete's probably going to be in that standard down and ready stance like they play in a lot of sports. So we use that a lot. Older athletes, the mobility isn't as good. Helps out there. So, something like old people like me, people, I'm 50. So it depends. Like, what are we using it for,
Hmm.
right? I like to use that where it's real lightweight and do jumps. One of my favorite core exercises is you load up one side of the hex bar and either hold it or walk because it's pulling you. So you're out of balance. And so now you're all messed up and you got to handle it. So my answer to almost everything is it depends. We're going to
Hmm.
find out what the root cause issue is and then directly attack that. So why did you ask?
I feel like, in the Twitter sphere and on Instagram, that's one of the main things I see is before, like, last year it was all like hex bar everything, and now it seems to be shifting more towards the sumo route. But again, I 100% agree. Like it's just context dependent.
Sure. And then, what are we using for, right? I like all three. I like snatch grip deadlift. I like deficit deadlifts. Today our gym was doing rack pulls.
Hmm.
Um, in my opinion, for deadlift, that's super fun because it's super advantageous. And if
Yeah.
you can, if you can just set your back and then squeeze, then it's all glutes, it's all ass, right? So you just set up and go. Um, so a lot of fun with VHP, Virginia High Performance. Talk about the company itself. There's a West Coast branch, there's a Virginia branch. What is it exactly? Uh, you know, this is going to get to the crux. Why we have you on the show on what you guys are building there. So talk a bit about what you guys are building there.
Yes. So we're a multidisciplinary human performance program. It's a 4 to 6 weeks program, and we work with active, retired, military members, some of special forces, some private clients. It kind of depends. So we see pretty much a whole array of people and high performers, depending on what category you want to put them in. So with the multidisciplinary team, we work alongside. We have a strength staff. We have a speech therapy department. We have dietitians. We have massage therapists, and we have a chiro on staff.
Wow,
So with that, from a strength coach perspective, that's very unique to have all of that under one building and to be able to brush shoulders with all of them.
for sure. We had Anthony Schlegel on. He was a Ohio State legend, played in the pros, coached in the pros, NFL, and his gym in Columbus has all that. And it's like the only gym I came across where they have MDs on staff. They have their enormous facility. They have their own offices. You want to get your blood work tested. You want to get your in bodies done. You want to go sit in the Epsom salts. You want Normatec. You name it, man. Everything was all under one roof. And I was like, well, shoot. And now I find out about you guys. You guys are helping out the military um, community. How is it only 4 to 6 weeks? Because training, essentially is a lifetime.
Mhm. Yeah, yes. So with that, so I thought the same thing too when I found VHP, because when you think like your general adaptations, you're thinking like 6 to 12 weeks at least to get some type of physiological adaptation. one, it comes down to logistics and just funding to get people through the program. Two, also like the way that our program is ran, it's pretty much for those 4 to 6 weeks, you're pretty much all in program, and you have anywhere from 5 to 7 to 8 hours of appointments per day, Monday through Friday, depending on what your needs are. And then it's really meant to be a hard reset for whoever comes through. So again, it's 4 to 6 weeks. What do we do from a strength and conditioning side? So this really changes our perspective because you're not really taught that in school. So it's mainly an education piece. Pretty much for every discipline that's here, we harp on education as we try to make each client as autonomous as possible when they leave.
You want to set them up, give them the tools, and then send them on so they can then, you're going to teach them how to fish so they can then fish for themselves, essentially, right? So
Exactly.
are they all coming from around the country and they just live in Virginia for a month and a half? Then
It,
they go back to wherever they are, or how's that work?
yeah, yeah, it kind of depends. We have some local people. We have people that travel to come here, but yeah, it's mainly like they're all encompassed into to VHP for that month, and then outside of that, it's literally we just try to give them a toolbox for when they leave.
Gotcha.
Because when you think about most high performers, they're high performers because they can focus externally on a lot of different things, but they have trouble with that introspective aspect and really taking the time and pumping the brakes per se and looking in that mirror and trying to take account and take inventory of what's actually going on in their body.
So they get a target and they just go. And next thing you know, they're miles down the road without looking back and saying, "Oh shoot, what's going on here?" Is that what you're saying, metaphorically?
Yeah, exactly. Like for any tactical personnel and even just high performers in the business field, they're very task oriented people, and it's why they got to where they're at.
Gotcha. You mentioned funding, so I made sure I wore my New York City SEAL swim hat because all the money goes to the Navy SEAL Foundation, and we raised over 800 that in that one event alone. There's a lot of that, so I think they're listed as one of your partners. So the athletes or clients that come in,
Hmm.
they're all funded externally by somebody else that's helping pay the way,
Yeah, yes, they're funded through various nonprofits
right?
that come through and had different pipelines, which goes to show like there's a lot of good foundations out here that do really good for our military service members.
Gotcha, gotcha. And they could be all walks of life, young and old. It
Hmm.
could be, amputee or not at all. They could have PTSD or a TBI or not at all. Um, Out of shape, haven't been working out in a while, or in great shape, but they're all working on something. When you say interdisciplinary, just like when the athlete builder world, there's always something, right? You could be doing well in a few areas, but weak in others, and that's always the case, me included.
Yeah, like, and for like this is kind of what I tell some of the coaches here. It's performance is contextual. So whether if you're a 23-year-old active service member that's in the peak of their career, about to be in the peak of their career, or a guy that's been out for 2 decades and hasn't seen a gym, performance is contextual. One guy, you're going to be very much traditional strength and conditioning. The other guy, maybe he just wants to be able to pick up his grandkids in the next couple of years. But again, it's his performance.
Gotcha. And you and I were just talking about our approach and atomic habits and James Clear, and he'll say, if you're going to start a new habit, make sure you can get it done in 2 minutes or less. You start building some momentum, and you're not trying to take somebody from going from 1 to 100. You want to just move them incrementally so they're a little bit uncomfortable. Get a win, great. That way they enjoy that piece. It's satisfying. Is that one of those quadrants for him? So then it's sustainable. You build your own momentum, your own motivation. Hey, I got a win yesterday. Let's go get another win today. You start building that mindset, and it keeps them moving forward.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things you listed here, he says, on my day to day, my role is about problem solving and relationship building. And I thought, I don't know very well of any profession where it isn't that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very rarely talked about.
Okay. So why did you led that paragraph with that? So talk about that, what that means to you, what it means to VHP.
Yeah, so for us, again, a little bit behind the scenes, we coach one on one, which is also very unique for a strength and conditioning coach to be in a setting like this and to be one on one with an athlete. So with that, you have to know one how to kind of not really control a room, but control a conversation. And then with that, you have to know how to build relationships. So the kind of secret sauce, if you will, of a lot of things that we do here, it's that one-on-one nature, and then it's building relationships and rapport with the clients and athletes that are coming through. And then with the strength coaches, we have so many touch points with our athletes that by the end of the month, and like you're in the gym. It's a lot easier to have conversations and free flowing in the gym. And then guys just, yeah, they end up opening up to us. And then next thing you know, you make really, really meaningful relationships from this. And then what I've seen is it's from an accountability standpoint. When people leave, they'll reach back out just to have updates. Be like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm still doing this. If there's like something that we did that sucked in the gym, they'll hit us back up and be like, hey, I'm doing this. I gave this to my buddy. We're doing it. So we're really creating like a small community in that sense. And then from the problem solving, I think that's pretty much what our job is as strength and conditioning coaches here. It's you have one, you're working one on one. Two, you can have an array of um, background from a sport standpoint, from a injury standpoint. You can have a laundry list of injuries, or you can have someone that's a clean slate and can pretty much do everything. And that could be on an hour to hour basis. So you have to be able to switch that hat from 1 hour to the next. And then with it, it had being able to call audibles in the middle of a session. So it's you plan out your theoretical month here, which none of us do because it's almost impossible to do with the day to day. But let's say you plan out your week or you plan out your day, how those sessions are going to look, and the athlete comes in and the lower back's flaring up, just something's flaring up. They didn't really sleep that well, check the Oura ring, everything's in the trash. And then it's like, all right, I call a slight audible. Or you're in the middle of the session and then something flares up. It's, okay, can I give them something to potentially mitigate that and then keep going? Or do we actually have to call an audible? And then the trick is to be able to do that and not let the athlete see it.
Mm.
Because with a lot of these high performers, they're going to have their mindset on, oh, we were doing this type of squat, and then now we're going to switch in the middle of it. They'll catch on to it, and then they're going to be thinking, what was I doing wrong? So you have to be able to easily transition in that realm.
I guess I would just label it and say we're trying to get the most out of you as an athlete, as a weapon, as a person today. And the inputs are in flux.
Mm-hmm.
The weapon could be low on gas. Shoot, I thought we had more gas in the tank. We can't fire off this weapon. Or maybe you're behind on sleep. Or maybe you got damaged. Something happened. We were in a fight, got damaged. So now you can't deadlift like you want to, right? And it just happened today. So we're going to adjust all the time because every time anyone goes on mission, goes into a fight scene, everybody has their main plan of attack, and it's usually 7, 8, 9, 10 iterations later that the whole event is over.
Mm-hmm.
And so every training session is going to be like that a little bit, where we're going into this a little bit of a battle essentially, and we have to be nimble, not just completely rigid. You mentioned about building relationships. I come in, I'm 50 years old. I pulled 600 before, and I see barely facial hair, 21-year-old coming out of college, get the nice little good old boy look, big smile. And I'm like, bro, Chipper, what do you know? So there's gotta be some moments.
Yeah,
Or even like Sydney, a female has to deal with the males, right? So there's gotta be some moments where people are like, who the fuck is this kid? Right?
Yeah,
So how do
I
you tell me about a story like that, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, so I learned early on, it's just to embrace it. Like I embrace being the young one in the room. Literally, like when the guy sits down and we're doing our intake, so the for like before we even start paperwork, the first 10 minutes is just building rapport. So the way I frame it is I talk about myself first, just so they understand of who they're talking with. And I always start with, I know I look like I'm 15, but I promise you I'm not. And then I go
I'm
into
really 17.
yeah. Yeah, I guess now I can kind of say 17.
Right.
But yeah, back then when I started here, and that was before like, trying to grow a little facial hair, make me look a little bit older. But but back then, yeah, it was bad. But yeah, I just embraced it. I was like, hey, like this is who I am. I'm extremely young in this field, super blessed for this opportunity. And then I just kind of tell my background, and then that's that. And then we go into them. And then I don't ask about injury history right away. I just say like, hey, like tell me your story, what got you here. I want to know like hobbies, like what sports did you play? Because then I'm just trying to ping something that we have in common. And then being in this part of Virginia, a lot of people either play golf or they hunt. And then for me, those are two big things. So it makes it easy to
Not
build
even
rapport.
closely related.
Yeah. Not closely related, but there's
Country
a
club route, good
yeah.
old boy route, right?
You'd be surprised at the mix of people in Virginia.
Okay, so, all right. I was going to ask about that piece. So you're dealing with some folks, you're building rapport, and from hearing like your model, it's 4 to 6 weeks, very intensive. Could have the client in for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, right?
Hmm.
I remember reading the book Fearless. It's a biography of Adam Brown. Adam Brown was a SEAL Team 6 operator, Medal of Honor winner, died in the line of duty. And the biography talks extensively about his addictions.
Hmm.
And when he was with the teams, when he's with his unit, when he's everything's all squared away. Like he is 100% dialed in, making no mistakes. Comes home, hangs out with his wife and kids, and falls immediately, right? Completely making bad choices. And I'm not saying that's what these guys are doing, but when you have a lot of great parameters in place for 4 to 6 weeks, like it's easy to lose weight, it's easy to show up every day. You have all that support. And once they leave, how do you help them transition so that they can keep fishing on their own? Do you set up check-ins later? Do you have like minute, goals? Like for one of our things is, hey, whenever you guys are trained, just never miss Monday. Sets the tone. Number two, never miss 2 days in a row, right? So we got to set some baseline standards to keep them always on track, no matter if we're dead or alive.
Yeah.
So those people transition out from a lot of help and support to much less. How do you equip them so they can keep having success?
Yeah. So one, it kind of starts with day one, and it's just being transparent with everything you're doing. Like you don't have to tell them the exact reason you're doing this specific exercise or your periodization scheme,
Hmm.
but you have to tell them why you're doing something, just so they have a loose understanding, just from a strength conditioning side. And then across the rest of the weeks, it's more of a conversation rather than me telling them what to do. So that way in week four, it's pretty much them writing their own program with a little bit of guidance. And then when we do our like checkout before they leave, we'll talk about how to carry this on, set goals, things like that. We send them home with a little take home program for them to build off of, like a template.
Hmm.
And then the other disciplines also do that. I think the hardest thing by far for everyone is going to be the nutrition aspect. So it's just trying to simplify that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But again, that's something that we all hit on. It's like from day one, it's we already know that you're only going to be with us for a short period of time. So it's we're trying to give you as much information as possible in as many touch points as possible. So
Gotcha.
that way when you leave, it's going to almost become second nature. So you're not really reliant on us when we're here. We're just here as touch points.
Gotcha. Whether I talk to a bodybuilder, powerlifter, runner, sumo wrestler, strongman, endurance athlete, I hear different percentages, but they're not too far off. what percentage of the athlete's success is their ability to eat well? Just give me a rough range in your mind.
A rough range, their ability to eat well. Probably,
Whether you're a strength athlete, whether you're this person, average Joe with grandkids or your own kids, or
I would
you want to
say,
be in the military, special forces.
yeah, I'd probably say 40%, 60% actual what you're putting in the gym, and then 40% nutrition. Now, if you go like aesthetic goals, that might flip a little bit.
Yeah, it's totally different. And at the end, you
Yeah,
gotta cut and all that jazz.
but performance, I feel like you can kind of grind through that a little bit. But then you get into endurance. So if there's any type of capacity to it, then nutrition is going to take the little bit more of a front seat.
Gotcha. Well, I would say what I always tell people is about the opposite. About 60% is your nutrition.
Hmm.
I can only lift so much if I'm not eating well.
Yeah.
If I eat enough protein, get enough creatine, enough water, right? Then I'm going to be limited. And a lot of people, a lot of athletes will say, "Man, I could squat this, run this, but if I don't eat well, I'm getting injured." My son graduated at 205. He plays linebacker in college, and there's no chance they were ever going to put him on the field at 205 at linebacker, right? So he was a 500 squatter at 205.
Yeah.
Pretty good, but he's 205.
But he has to move another human.
That's right. And force is mass times acceleration, my friend, right? So the strength coach, what they do is they weigh the kids in every session, and you got to be trending up week after week. And so they'll tell you, man, I can lift fine. But if I don't fuel enough, I got nothing on game day. I got nothing in practice.
Mhm.
So small town chipper gets looked at VHP, and they're based out of California, right?
Virginia Beach.
Virginia
So,
Beach.
yep. So
But
Virginia.
there's another branch out in California. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, we have another one partnered with the Navy SEAL Foundation out there.
Out there, and you got to fly out there to meet everybody before they say, "Hey, man, this guy's cool enough. We want him on the team. We believe he can drive a car. He has his own license. He is old enough. Let's put this boy on an airplane."
So I
And
so
so, how does that go, buddy?
all right, so funny enough, my it was my first time ever flying.
All
So
right,
I'd been with VHP for about a year, a little over a year, and they had just started up the California location.
nice,
I had the opportunity to go out there for about 3 weeks.
cool.
So of course I'm jumping at the opportunity. But then again, at the time I was just turned 23. I had never flown a day in my life. Didn't know what to expect. Now I'm flying cross country. Get to the airport, and of course it's like a 7 a.m. flight. Get to the airport, sitting there, nervous, get through TSA and everything. I'm like, found my gate. I sit down, and then you know what's going to happen, a delay. And then I see it on my phone, get the notification. It's like 15 minutes, like a not bad. 15 stacks into 30, stacks into 60. And then now I'm looking on my app and I'm like, I'm going to miss my connection flight. So I have no clue what to do at all. So I just find the nearest American Airlines lady and I'm like, I've never flown before. I have no clue what I'm doing. Here's my ticket. Can you help me? And then after about, a few minutes and just some kind of some small talk, telling her where I was going and like kind of my background, she prints out the ticket. She slides it to me, gives me a little wink, and she says, "Have a good flight, honey." I'm like, "All right." I'm still nervous. I'm like, "I gotta get on this flight." Walk back to my gate. I sit down and look at the seat, and it says seat 1F, and I'm in first class. They booked me first class for both of my flights. My flight to my connection flight and my flight to San Diego. So
Dang,
my first time ever flying is in first class. So so I get on the plane and I'm in like shorts,
oh
short
boy,
sleeve shirt, like hat, Ray Bans, and I had like this little carry on thing for 3 weeks. That's it. And then I sit in first class, and then some business had like rented it, or they were flying somewhere. So all these people were in like nice blazers, things like that, and then there's just me. And then I have to like, crawl in someone's lap to get by the window seat.
oh boy.
I'm nervous, my foot's tapping before we even like taking off. And then once we get up in the air, when the stewardess comes back, she's like taking everyone's order and things like that. I have no clue like what to do. So I'm sitting there, she asked me what I want, and I just say water. I'm like, I don't know. There's so many choices. And the guy next to me goes, he'll take a Jack and Coke because he got one too. And then
Right.
she brought the Jack and Coke for us. And then he looked at me and he goes, buddy, drink up. He goes, you need to calm down.
Well, no.
Lo and behold, my second flight to San Diego was a lot better. And then on the way back, I got the red eye, I got the economy all the way in the back. So I got to see both sides of the curtain on my first trip.
The drinks are free.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know that you
first,
can even get alcohol in first class. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, I just want water. This guy goes, yeah, he'll take Jack and Coke. And I was like, thank you, Bob.
thank you, my friend. So I gotta say, you get back in town, I just make my way over to the airport, buy any random ticket, and go over to that same desk. And, she winked at you, called you honey, gave you first class. She clearly was hoping you'd come back and take her out to dinner, don't you think?
I mean, she was probably way well above my my age range. She probably thought I was her son.
Right?
But
Well,
hey,
that's how it goes sometimes. You gotta learn one way or the other, right? And
I mean, it may be a little bit of that Southern charm. I don't know, but I tried everything I could. I was scared.
oh, you got a little cougar at the counter taking care of Chipper before he even gets on the plane. All right, all right. So, what's the talk about some people that come back? You have clients, and thankfully, all these people you work with are honorable and brave enough to say, "Hey, I'll die for my country and essentially die for me." So I am forever grateful to those kinds of folks. And like anybody, whether you're in the military or not, everybody has their emotional baggage, right? But some of them come back with different baggage than I'll ever have. And so there's other things you have to navigate. You mentioned that sometimes you need to, pivot. Like I've had people in my gym that come in and we're getting ready to warm up, and I ask a question and they just start crying. And I was like, well, shit, we're probably not lifting today, you know. And it turns out, someone died. Her best friend died the day before, or this other person, she was engaged and they just ended the whole thing. So sometimes, there's something traumatic that just happened recently, or maybe something happened a while back, and you still got to pivot. Talk about how it might not be a physical thing, but something that's emotional or mental that you got to be aware of. Because when you're the coach, sometimes you're the priest, sometimes you're the bartender, sometimes you're their best friend, you're their shrink and psychologist. Sometimes you're their accountability partner, sometimes you're their parent, or you're their drill instructor. Hammering them. But you got to wear a lot of hats emotionally too to connect with these folks and meet them where they are, not where you want them to be. So talk about that ability emotionally to do that.
Yeah, and I would say like it does take a lot out of you. You don't really realize it, but when you have to navigate situations like that. But for me, this what I tell all the coaches, it's like you just kind of let the athlete dictate the session. Like you have an idea where it wants to go, but again, it's all one on one. So we know how we know the person's normal demeanor and where their baseline is. So we kind of know where they're at. So on the completely other end of the spectrum, if they're coming in and they're just hitting on all cylinders, then
Push.
then we may call an audible and we're probably going to push. But kind of in your scenario, they come in and just see like, yeah, they're like way below baseline. They're not really as talkative as they normally are. It's like there's kind of a handful of things. Like one, I'm going to ask them. I'm not going to tell them what I have planned. I'm just going to ask them, be like, hey man, like, what do you want to do this afternoon or this morning, whenever the session is? Like, what do you have in mind? Because sometimes it's like, getting in the gym, banging some weights is probably some of the best therapy that you can do from a mental standpoint. But again, it's like if they've been up all night and it's just like something to do with personal life, it's like sometimes it's a walk, sometimes it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home. Like that's fine. And it's just being like not being a guardian for the session. It's like we're a coach, like we're supposed to take the athlete from where they are to where they want to be. And sometimes that means that we're not right beside them.
Yep. So our mantra is win the day. And a lot of people can get pretty rigid. And in some ways, that's great to be rigid. Hey, I'm hitting my markers no matter what. It's also not always sustainable. So win the day means, where are you at today? And can we
Hmm.
move the needle a little bit?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, hey, man, I made the team. That's my big win. Or we won the Super Bowl. That's my big win. Well, I'm like, well, what about a week later? We're still trying to build the best versions of themselves, and sustain that. So you got to meet them where they are emotionally, physically, and then try to move the needle then. So I'm gonna say, hey man, where are you at? One of the things, I don't know if you follow 𝗪𝗂𝗍𝗂 at all or heard it or met with him. He's been to Sorenex's events a few times.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
out of New Jersey. He's a strength coach, works with student athletes, adults. Like he does everything. And I like a lot of his approach sometimes, and I'll need it myself, where he calls it greasing the groove. You come in and I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like swimming today. I don't feel like lifting, but hey, I gotta be healthy. I gotta be moving forward. So he'll say, when you get to the gym, pick whatever you absolutely love to do right now. Could be curls, could be push-ups, could be a bunch of bodyweight stuff, could be getting a stairmaster, could be, hey man, it's bench day, and hey, you just bench yesterday. I don't care. I want to bench again today. That's what I feel like doing because everything else kind of sucks. Once you get kind of going, a little bit movement, a little bit uncomfortable, then you might gravitate towards something more that's appropriate for what you're trying to accomplish that day. But at least if you get going, show up to the gym. Don't miss the day.
Yeah. So that's like kind of one of our only mantras that we have is no zeros.
No zeros, right? Right. That's huge. Because
Because a lot of times it just takes getting moving, and then once you get some positive momentum, things become easier.
yep. I tell people, man, I can if you're taking zeros for a whole week, and I sucked, and I took 350% days where I just did half, I'm way ahead of you because you took
Hmm.
zero. So and I still have my momentum of hey, I got 3 training days. One of my things is cold showers or cold therapy every day. Some days I don't want to do it 4 or 5 minutes. Hey man, if I just take 15, 30 seconds, all right, I'm still going. Still getting some kind of benefit. Just no zeros. I love that approach. How do people receive that? They buy in at all or no?
I think for the most part they buy in because it seems like because again it's like super task oriented. So when you make the task, hey, I just got to do something that's strategic for my physical health. Whether it's like going a walk, it's a couple minutes on a ski erg. I know 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀's big at putting a kettlebell in your kitchen. Like it's just little things like that. It's like just making it easy to get some type of workout in.
I haven't heard that. Is that so that you just do some extra work?
Yeah, yeah. So 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃's big thing is just lowering the barrier of entry for exercise. So, for example, you put a kettlebell in your kitchen, and while you're cooking, you're waiting for something. You just knock out a couple kettlebell swings, stir whatever, knock out a couple rows, and it's just lowering that barrier for exercise.
Bro, right off Atomic Habits will say, hey, make it obvious. Make it
Mhm.
easy.
Yeah,
So right then and there, it's obvious. I see the kettlebell. It's easy. It's right there. Obvious, easy. So 2 of the 4 checkpoints for James Clear are already met. Make it enjoyable and then satisfying, right?
hmm
Bang. That's huge. I'm gonna tell a whole bunch of people that. I'll get laughed at. I'll get my ass laughed at for doing it, but I don't care. Where are some areas where you get some significant pushback? You said, hey, I'm a young guy. I've only been doing this for a little while, which is whatever. Some people
yeah,
get a lot of years in early on by double timing everything, so you can
yeah.
still be doing great things. But where do you get a lot of pushback, training wise, nutrition wise, physically, mentally, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, I gotta say, like probably the biggest like pushback. Like we're pretty fortunate here. There's not a lot of pushback, but some of the pushback we get is some of our like recovery things that we do, like are kind of like lower like down regulation days. Is because no one really wants to do that. Like again, it's that old like Arnold Schwarzenegger meme. It's like rest day. How do I train it? So it's I try to frame it like that. It's like, hey, like we're strategically training or putting in down regulation days in our training so that way we can push harder on these other days. But like those days will be like we do like a lot of like feet, lower leg care, like we do a lot of like ball smashing, foam rolling, some band distraction stuff, low level mobility, some positional ISOs. So some people love it, and then other people they're more of that again like task oriented. They just want to ground and pound. So a lot of that slower stuff they're not really bought into. So again, I just try to frame it to where, you're just making deposits now, so you have more to spend later.
It's hard for them to grasp. What I tell people, it's not how hard you can train, it's how hard can you train, recover, and train hard.
Hmm.
Like I can have you do 1,000 burpees, or I can have you max out your sled push for 100 yards and do it multiple times, but your nervous system is so wrecked you can't do anything meaningful until Thursday. If you do all this on a Monday,
Consistent.
I want you to get something else out of Tuesday and Wednesday.
Hmm.
And if you go and blast people, that's not necessarily training. Like CrossFit gets a bad rap for just blasting people.
Yeah.
Like that's not training. And so you can use CrossFit very effectively for a lot of folks. But it all comes down to how are you implementing it. When I see on your thing here says however, over time I've learned that both peace and performance stem from focusing on what I can influence. My preparation, my attitude, my effort, all the main things. Everything else has to be surrendered. And that makes sense right here on paper. And it makes
Mm.
sense as soon as I say it.
Yeah. But
And
how do you?
then when I get someone who cheats me, or I get someone who screws around with me or takes something away from me, like I'm swimming today, right? This
Hmm.
happened, I swear, this morning. And it's one of my rest laps. So I'm doing freestyle because I did that seal swim craziness. And on my rest laps, I'm on my back. I'm just resting. So I'll do like 500 meters and then do a rest lap. And I'm swimming backwards on my back. Two of the other lanes are wide open. No one's in it. I'm in my lane. And then the fourth lane has everyone that's waiting to do water aerobics. And as I near the edge of the wall, going backwards, can't see, this big dude who's going to do water aerobics just cannonballs right in my lane and just barely misses me, goes around me, and then goes underneath the lane marker and then into their seat with his buddies. I don't know if he saw me coming or not. I'm like, bro, you almost landed on my face. And you almost, while I'm swimming backwards and can't tell you, I'm like, I'm ready to kill you right now, right? So that's completely out of my control. And my personality, I go from 0 to 100, unfortunately. But talk about that, how, what, I got to be, and I totally agree with you. I'll be at peace if I let shit go. My preparation, I still worked. My attitude, I'm trying to have a good attitude. I'm putting forth good effort. I'm focused on something external, then I'm pissed, right? So talk about how, this is the right thing to say and do, but how hard it is to implement and how you guys go about that.
Like it's extremely hard to implement, but yeah, for me, it's I like to frame it around, well, like a little caveat. So one of the main things you always hear, I guess, just now with social media and everything, is the whole anxiety term. It's like we have so much stuff around us, and like we have access to information that we don't we don't have the the power to even change anything, and now we just have all these thoughts, and then with that you get that anxiety feeling. It's like, what am I going to do about it when a lot of this is out of your control? So when I say like kind of like surrendering that, it's like with that I just mean like relying, like for me it's like on your faith and understanding that like God's purpose and he has a purpose for you. And then I just can't help but reflect on kind of my time and what got me to VHP right now. And it's by no means been linear at all, but it's I definitely think it's God's purpose to have me here. So, and then again, this like I haven't thought this forever. Like this is a very recent thing that I've been reflecting on, and I was kind of thinking the other day and wrote a few things down. It's like if there's one thing I learned about faith is it doesn't really make life easier. So that whole like peace thing doesn't really make life easier, but it makes it more clear. And then, but what I mean about that is I used to think kind of like success and doing things like that anxiety of what's next, what's next. Like I used to think that was the purpose on like arriving somewhere, but now it's more understanding that it's the process per se, and it's like the person I'm becoming, and then the man that God wants me to be is that's where kind of that peace comes from, and then just being like pretty content on who I am, but not content on where I'm at, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Well, I would argue also and agree that like your training or your nutrition, your faith improves or weakens based on how you work at it.
Yeah,
And
it's a
some
very active thing.
right, and if you don't grease the groove sometimes and work out even when you don't want to, or do something systematically, you do your
Mm,
Bible study, do your reflection, your meditation, your prayer, go to mass, go to church, go wherever. Work on that. It's going to improve as well. Being open to the message that you're learning about yourself or what you're hearing. But like anything else, you have to work at it, systematically a little bit.
yeah,
I would also wonder sometimes, hey, man, I'm working on my faith here. I got a lot of trials and tribulations here, God. I think I'm persistent. I don't think I need to learn this persistence anymore. How about taking your foot off the gas a little
yeah,
and letting up a little bit, right? Because sometimes it's painful.
yeah. I would say, like I've always been religious. I grew up Southern Baptist, like hunted with my pastor, like definitely like small town country boy stuff again. But it like I never really realized how active like faith had to be until here recently, probably within the past 2 years or so. And then most of it came down to just surrounding yourself with the right people.
You want to show me your success, show me the 5 people you hang out with the most,
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Hmm.
You mentioned about the anxiety, and knowing that we had Michael 𝗍𝗶𝗶𝗀𝘀𝗀. He was a Marine sniper instructor, pretty legit, right? And he talked about how once he realized that he was enough, told his kids, "Hey, you are enough, and even if I don't think you're enough, kid, it doesn't matter because you're enough in God's eyes, right?" So that was huge for him, and it took a while for him to actually get that. And we mentioned that, I thought, man, that's huge. I made sure after I recorded that episode that night, that the next week when I talked to our kids, and between my wife and me, we have six, um, that we told them that, and it was huge, and it would made all the difference.
Yeah, and I think some of that goes to like a little bit of the leadership side too. Not necessarily mean you have to be in a leadership position, but it's just like, leading from the bottom up, top down. It's whoever you interact with, is just show some acknowledgement and appreciation to like even the little things, because it does go a long way.
You also mentioned with the anxiety piece that there's a lot of information overload, whether social media, websites. Those are a lot of inputs going in
Mm.
your eyeballs, going in your brain.
Yep.
Just like your inputs for your food, or your sets and reps, or
Hmm.
your sleep, all things you put into your body, right? You can manage your inputs. You can make choices there. Like I can choose right now to drink a bunch of booze, right? I can get high on something, or I could have a good meal, calm down, do some meditation, read, then go to bed, get a good night's sleep. It's a little hard though. People start off, little kids, 3 years old on their iPad. They're trained like this, all these inputs all the time, all that overload, all that stimulus. How do you even shut down? How do you relax? You talk about having your team recover, taking a rest day, an easier day. That brain, that nervous system is going 24/7.
There's just something about like just in general on just trying to like seek boredom, like
Yes.
try to like put yourself in a position to not have a stimulus. And then for me, like that's why I hunt. Like I love just sitting in a stand. There's not a stimulus. Yeah, I have my phone, but I try to put it on do not disturb and be on it as little as possible. But like you'd be surprised on like where your mind will wander and the creative things that'll come.
Gotta be quiet for you to do that. So, like, I've never really been hunting. I love hiking. I hiked yesterday. For me to calm down, I'm either hiking or I'm fishing.
Mm,
And people ask why you fish. I said because it's quiet. No one talks to me. Shut the hell up. But it's quiet. And don't get me wrong, catching the fish is awesome. I love it. It's super cool. But a lot of times, not catching the fish is awesome too because it gives me a chance to decompress.
Again, it's the journey. It's not the outcome of it.
Yeah, right. Enjoying where you're at. If you go through Mark Devine's Way of the Seal book, and it's been out for a long time, he does great things. He runs SealFit, created SealFit.
Mm,
Um, he'll talk about just being able to sit still and meditate for 5 minutes. And people have to, me included, would have to work up to 5 minutes because right off the bat, man, I'm like, they said when the thought comes in your head, you kind of just breathe it in and then breathe that thought out and try to get your mind back to blankness.
Yeah.
Very, very challenging, right? Especially in today's age. But rewards are huge. Let's say, Chipper, and you said deadlift is your jam, right?
Hmm.
And man, it's go time. You're down at Sore You're hoping for this 500 deadlift in front of God and everybody. And there's some dudes, there's some men that show up at Sore right? And great facility. Just had Bert on the show recently, Bert Soren. And so, hey, man, they're like, Chipper, you pick the song, man. So, what's the song that you're listening to when you're ready to? You can pick anything you want.
Like,
Please don't come out with Adele or something.
I mean, it's funny that in an environment like that, it would be a little bit different, but in the training environment here, like the coaches say I have the craziest, like if you put my phone on shuffle, like it could be from one end of the spectrum to the other. Country, hip hop, rock, reggae, like I listen to everything. But I don't know. So I've hit my training maxes to 𝗦ci𝗰𝗍𝗶𝗹 Bedingfield Unwritten so many times in the past like 2 years. It is crazy. I don't know why. I just kind of black out to it, and it's just something about the rhythm. But every time, and it's like everyone's in there laughing, and I'm just super honed into it.
So that song comes on the radio, and you're driving down the road. You
Dude,
start like
yes,
sweat. You start sweating a little bit. Like you're. Is there a cause and effect where you're like, oh shit, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight now.
no, like I don't know. I've never been like a super like angry person, but it's just the energy I get from it. Like I just want to sing.
All right,
And when I'm training, it's like I just kind of channel the energies of picking something up, putting it back down.
bang. All right. Uh, since you haven't been on a plane that much, there's probably a lot of different options. But what's a bucket list adventure place you like to go and do?
Bucket list adventure. I want to go out west somewhere, Wyoming, Montana, fly, of course, and then go for like a week and then bow hunt elk off of horseback.
You got to haul it out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's the fun of it. You get to pack it all out.
yeah. You need multiple horses.
Yeah, but when I think about like the ultimate like performance goal, like you have to not only hike, then you have to ruck all of that. Well, you have to hike in multiple miles. Then you have to make a shot with a bow. You have to get in within 50 yards of an animal that its its whole life is trying to get away from predators. You're trying to outsmart this animal in its home territory. Get a good shot off.
Ground stalking.
Yeah, and then you have to field dress it. Then you have to quarter it. Then you have to pack it out however many miles you walked in. Like that's the ultimate physical endeavor.
For sure. And if any bears are smelling what you did,
Yeah, you gotta fight off a couple bears, mountain lions, depending where you're at.
what's a sports movie that you love?
Dude, I had to go. Like I was thinking about it. God, there's so many good movies. I mean, I'm a big Happy Gilmore fan. I'm just a big Adam Sandler fan in general. But a good like heartfelt, I think overlooked sports movie is Hardball with Keanu Reeves before
Really?
the John Wick days.
All right. All right. Not a bad pick. How about favorite sport to watch?
Favorite sport to watch. I mean, you can't go wrong with college football. Yeah, can't go wrong with college football.
Favorite athlete to watch? Dead, alive, current, doesn't matter.
It was cool, as corny as it is, to see Chipper Jones in person. I got to watch a few games of him in person, and I don't know, there's just something about it. It was pretty cool to see.
You guys look alike.
I don't know, like kind of maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a book recommendation?
Like audiobook, Undeniable with Cameron Haynes.
Oh
It
yeah,
it's his newer book, but I'm a big Cam Haynes fan. Run, lift, shoot. Like you got me there. Like it's pretty much everything I do. Yeah, yeah, it's just pretty much everything I do.
what
But
about? Go ahead.
the strength and conditioning side, I mentioned Kelly Starrett earlier, but Supple Leopard, the the Supple Leopard book. I mean, it's pretty much most anyone can take anything from it: band distraction, ball smashing, just how to take care of your body.
Yep. This could be a real life person or it could be fictional. You got a hero, a superhero?
Let's go fictional. Like I've always been a big Batman guy because at the end of the day, he doesn't really have a superpower. He just has a lot of money and he's got the personality. I mean, of course he knows some martial arts, but he's just a dude, man.
Gets by on his wits and his effort and his brain.
Yeah.
How about a villain though, a bad dude that you like?
Dude, this is what I was struggling with. I was like, I don't know. Then I thought about it. I was like, what would be cool? I was like Magneto. Like how much metal was in this world? Like you could pretty much control everything.
The thing about the Marvel villains is that Stan Lee made it so they're all somewhat identifiable, likable. Who was a concentration camp victim? His parents
Hmm.
were killed in a concentration camp, so you kind of sympathize a little bit with all the villains. So people like them a little bit more than the DC ones, but there's plenty of good ones. Is your favorite lift the deadlift, or is there anything else?
It's got to be the deadlift. It's it, it's the thing I can load the most weight on, and it just feels good to pick something up.
What about something more primitive, like an Atlas stone or natural stone?
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to lift one. I mean, we have some heavy like D balls here that are about 100 pounds or so, but nothing super heavy. I would love to try it though. Like the whole premise of it. I do like some mace work, some mace swings, things like that. Like I'm a big fan of the mace.
Sure. If you ever come out to my gym, we have the natural stones for Indiana. I own the Hoosier stones, and then we have some Atlas stones too.
Nice.
What you got? You have a quote for us?
So actually, like I was kind of looking through some quotes that I have, and I ran across this sweater that I got from a mentor of mine, like very early in my career. So I have it up on my whiteboard, and I look at this a lot. In the coaching field, one thing you hear about is burnout, right? It's like, we work 50, 60 hours a week, maybe more. It's like, how do you keep that passion and fire alive? So here's this one quote, and I apologize, it's kind of long, but the one quote on burnout is the kiss of death for the field of coaching in any realm is complacency. When you feel yourself approaching points of fatigue or even burnout, assess yourself by asking simply, am I tired? Am I incapable? Or am I unwilling? When you're tired, rest. When incapable, figure the fuck out how to bridge the gap. When you're unwilling or unmotivated, remember the inevitable mark you can make on this world if you just keep your head down and keep pushing. You have all the skills and you have all the resources. Sometimes you just need to keep fucking going and find a way. It will never be perfect, but you're inherently working towards it.
Nice.
Yep. And then the other quote that I have from that same person is where arrogance is heard, confidence is felt. Your words aren't necessary when your presence is visceral. Confidence is rooted in repetition, and repetition is driven by how fucking bad you want something. You are always in control of your own outcomes. Go fucking take what you want.
A lot of F words in those quotes. Yes, she's pretty
And
serious.
yeah, if you knew my mentor, that is him. But those two quotes there kind of get me through and keep that drive alive.
The confidence piece, absolutely. When people say, I'm not confident in something, I'll simply say, you just haven't had enough reps yet.
Hmm.
You haven't had enough reps where you've earned the confidence. So you can believe in yourself, even though there's that leap of faith, right? But you go attempt a new PR. The last set, the weight moved fast. Your coach said it moved fast. Everything looked good. We're going, here's the next number. Go get it. There's some belief there. We haven't done it yet. Once you've done it, then, oh, yeah, I've done that. Confident, right? Comes from reps. Your willingness to be uncomfortable and grow. That's how bad you want it, right? Which makes you do the reps to earn the confidence. The arrogance is just, hey, I'm going to say I can do things without really having done it yet.
Yeah.
And so then you will want to test that person because if they haven't done it and then they don't do it, then when they say they can, then their confidence is broken and their arrogance is broken. If they go through with it anyways and they get it done, then they evolve and push forward. So either way, you're going to find out an answer. where can people find you, Chipper and VHP, and find out more about it? I know there's some entities that help support it. People want to look into what you guys are doing or support it. Where can people find you?
So you can find VHP at vhpmission.com, and then Virginia High Performance on Instagram, and then my Instagram, which is the only thing I really use, it's just my name, chipper.anderson.
Beautiful. And for those that want to continue to send us questions, info@athlete-builder.com. Be on the lookout for things. Our December webinar is the first Tuesday in December. We're laying out all things for 2026. When you talk about setting yourself up, doing your own assessments and analysis, the webinar is going to be free, and be on the lookout for that. It's on our website right now. You can sign up for it, but we want to make sure you are set up to attack and then be able to do all the things without us. So how much preparation can we do to get you set up, and then you guys just run? And so that's what we're big on. So info@athlete-builder.com. Send us an email. We'll answer your questions. Chipper, hang on after we're done. But man, it was great having you on today. Learned a lot. Had a great time. Thanks for being the humility, which helps us get through things, and then you just give us more information and lots of lessons. So I had a great time today, man. I'm real grateful that you came on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation, Jim.
Awesome. Have a good one.